South Africa is rich. South Africa, Ghana, Mali, Tanzania, Algeria are all rich in gold. Botswana, they have one of the largest diamond production. The Democratic Republic of Congo and Zambia, they have they're rich in natural resources in copper and cobalt. And this is good for technology because you need copper and cobalt for your phones, your cell phones, your technology, cell phones, laptops. But this is another thing that I believe I've seen, take notice that there are some Africans that at least that I've seen online that are very good with technology. And if we have more countries that are willing to invest in Africa's education and like STEM, science, technology, engineering, math, if they could invest more in those areas, it would help boost their economy. And me even thinking about compare this with the Gulf Arab countries is so rich in oil and natural gas. Well, I think you have someplace in Africa, they're ranked, some countries in Africa are probably ranked in like, maybe could be the top 10 for reserves, but I would imagine they could be just as wealthy. And I think that these countries not only just thinking about the natural resources like copper, cobalt, gold, diamond, and things like that, because those are things that can could boost the economy, right? The overall economy in a country. But I'm talking about collectively as a whole, that these countries in Africa could all be on the same accord to boost their economy. And one thing that I liked that I read was that the Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, respectively, he said he offered President Ibrahim of Burkina Faso to build 200 mosques. And I looked at that and I thought, oh, wow, that's nice. I said, because I remember going to Jama sometime a couple months ago, and one of the hadith by the Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was that whoever builds a mosque, Allah will build a home in paradise for them. So I was like, wow, that's a good gesture by the Saudi Crown Prince. But the president of Burkina Faso declined, and I'm thinking, but he said it with good reason, to where he wanted the Crown Prince to try to help invest in infrastructure, to invest and build homes, schools, hospitals, because when you build those, it will help out, help people with jobs and have economic resources to help build that particular country up, from what it is. So I think that President Ibrahim Traore, respectively, Ibrahim Traore. Hope I'm saying that right. But anyways, I think he's doing a good thing out there in his country. And, you know, we're going to pray that Allah continues to watch after him, because when you know that someone's doing good in a place like that, it's like you have a lot of people that want to keep places like that poor and don't want to see great leaders. Can't remember, but this made me think of, I can't remember the guy's name, but I don't know if it was in the Middle East region or it was in Africa, but I need to look this up and research. I'm always busy focused on something for business, but I try to educate myself about the economy and things that are happening around the world. And what I was thinking is that maybe this is something where a gentleman by the name of Gaddafi, I don't remember his name, but it was how he was doing something great for his people. And of course, they had him martyred. Supposedly, right? Because I briefly read that, but I think that's what it is. So what I'm saying, right? So what I was mentioning is that the Saudi Crown Prince and others are taking notice. There's even Russia helping protect Burkina Faso's President Ibrahim Traore, giving military aid to help, because some Western civilizations may not like African countries thriving towards success. Like, I like how there's been, a few countries in Africa, and I imagine a good bit of countries need to start doing this, is removing these military bases from other countries. Like, give an example, France. You have French military, and that's been going on for years, but now I see that you have military groups from France, troops from France being able to settle in parts of Africa, like in Algeria and a few others. Like, what are they doing? Because I know somebody out in Algeria. That's another place that I want to go, Algeria. But I realized that I need to speak to the embassy or something to get a visa, or speak to the embassy or something. You just can't just go to Algeria. I think they're saying that it's like a closed off thing, but as long as you fill out an application, speak to it, then you can get into Algeria. I was like, that's one place that I want to go visit, Algeria. But just like I was saying, is that you have, and this was a thing to where, I think it was that Charles de Gaulle, and this is why you have, there was a thing between French and Algeria, like a war. So, and even for a long period of time, you have a lot of the military from France out in these African countries. It's like they're setting up military bases, and it's almost like they could basically just point a warhead or something and destroy a particular region like that. And I was thinking that these places in Africa need to remove all of these particular countries that are trying to settle in their countries. And I'm glad that a few have, starting to remove them. But I also think and appreciate the fact that President Macron from France is agreeing to remove the troops out of Africa. So You know, I have respect for him for doing that. You know, to change, you know, need to make a change. And, you know, so this is one thing, because these African countries, they cannot take their military and bring them and put a military base here in the U.S. I live in the U.S. and people say, "Oh, why are you talking about the U.S.?" Because I can do what the hell I want. These African countries cannot put their military bases anywhere instead of shop in the U.S. And the same thing goes for African country trying to put their military base in China or Russia or wherever. That's not going to happen, right? Not that, like, now, I haven't read anything that says that it is. But this is good that, you know, they're removing this. Now, another thing that I would like to see, that I like the way how it seems that Africa is progressing in Nigeria, Nairobi, Algeria, and is it Bosnia, and then Botswana, is that they are trying to progress to some type of financial independence. And I think the other thing that is important is me agreeing with President Ibrahim, is to where if they could build more homes, schools, hospitals, this will help that their financial system will be confident in investing and saving money, right? As far as capital investments or capital markets, you know, help their stock market. But the other good thing, or that's the good thing, the other thing that could help is towards Africa's, or these, you know, 54 group of countries, financial stability, is to allow ports. I know that China has been helping with port schools and things like that, but if they could get more ports or route to bring shipment and, you know, more trade between other countries, this would help them economically. Because I remember a couple of years ago, I was going to school. I was in pre-med. So I was going to school to be a physician assistant years ago, 2019. And one of the college professors, he mentioned that when, even where I live in the U.S., in South Carolina has the ability, is a right to work state. So you have a lot of big, huge companies like Mercedes, Volvo, Boeing, Bosch. You have these big, huge companies that are here because they're able to pay low wages, save on taxes, but we have a port authority here as well, to where you have people making money. But when you have a port authority, you're able to bring in so much resources for the economy that you could pay the people well, right? And this is what Africa needs to be thinking about as well, which I'm pretty sure they are. But I've just read that about China helping, you know, with infrastructure, you know, with bridges, roads, and things like that. But here, even in South Carolina, it's like they have the ability to pay people decent wages, right? Livable wages, but they don't. You see all these other countries, not other countries, like you in the U.S., you see all these other different states, they're able to pay people $25 per hour and up. But South Carolina, they still trying to keep people poor. because they have their minimum wages set at what, $7 or $8 an hour. So even for somebody like me, trying to be successful and work towards financial independence. Make sure my mic's still working because I don't been talking too much. I didn't expect to talk this one. I thought I was going to have a short video, but maybe not. Anyway, so that's, what I wanted to talk about. Even talking about the Saudi Crown Prince, during the start of Ramadan, just like I said, people are noticing that, Africa, certain parts of Africa are doing well. The kingdom, they sent 100 tons of dates through the start of Ramadan to Nigeria. Now, this was, a good humanitarian thing to do. But of course, it's like, people of Nigeria wish that they've gotten some type of financial resources, as well to help out with, their infrastructure, to put the country further ahead, right? So that's thing. So capital markets are capital markets in a country are vital to have, and just stocks, bond, currencies are essential to financing infrastructure, roads, power plants, schools, hospitals, and homes, and to help manage unforeseeable risks. So this is what Africa is probably thinking, and need to put more effort into making sure that when these different countries like China and Russia, making sure some of the funds that are being donated goes into the financial sector. As I say, like doing these, having building roads, power plants, school, bridges, hospital, homes, these create jobs for people, right? So that that's what I wanted to talk about there. It says so. Good access to finance improves a country's overall welfare. Like I also like I went to Africa, some country, I can't remember. Like I was in Africa sometime, and I say Africa sometimes because I don't want to mention it everywhere I did. So I was out and I took note. Me and this guy, I forgot where he's from. I think he's Nigerian too. But me and him clicked well. So we're sitting down talking, and we're at this little event, and and we're sitting down talking, and we was talking about how like African music in the last couple of years, like the Afrobeats. So I like how, well, there are some Muslims that are very strict. So they'll say music is haram. I would say, listen to music. It could relieve stress. You can relieve stress, listen to music, meditation, and things like that. One thing that I noticed was that some of the African music, it is therapeutic and spiritual. And I found myself listening to more African music than some of the music that most of us tend to listen to in the US. Either something is about some heartbreak or glorifying rap culture or dividing men between, well, dividing the sexes, male and female. And I don't see that or hear that much in African music that I listen to. It's more about loving one another, men and women. And just like I said, you know, you have to be mindful what you put in your mind. You are what you attract. And if you're trying to attract better, then you need to gravitate towards that. Like I like some of the artists, music artists from Africa coming out of, dang, you know, there's a pretty girl that's a DJ. I think she's part Ghanaian and she's part, I don't know why. I think she's part Ghana, from Ghana, and then she's in the UK, Brooke Bailey, right? And I listened to her on my little Sirius XM radio or whatever, satellite radio, and listen to her station sometimes, right? If they have it on it. So, but damn, boy, that woman fine. But not even her being fine. Look at me talking about these African. There's a TVC news reporter. Talk about fine. Damn, what her name is? I think her name is Olimidi. Dang, got that girl name. I think her name is Olimidi with TVC. Got that long jet black hair like Brooke Bailey. God, that sometimes this must be my type, but I have a type. But that's like my ideal type possibly because I'm like that woman with that long real hair and that beautiful melanated skin. I just. But the music artists out of Nigeria, I like Omale. I like Tim's. What's thing? I like that. I like their song "Free Mind." That's a beautiful song. Um, what I've been listening to lately is "Burning," but most of Omale, that guy, that gentleman has some. Omale is the truth. He got some nice hits. So I like Aya Star. I like her little fire in her, right? So I like her, and I like everybody's favorite, possibly coming out of Nigeria and also British, Sade Adu. Like my favorite is probably like Sweetest Taboo. I remember one night I was in Italy and I was there with my lady and we was at a rooftop and that music was playing, so it was beautiful. So we had a wonderful time. And I always think about that moment. We was in Rome. It was so beautiful. Probably, and it wasn't that much people out there. The music was nice. It was a good vibe. The Sweetest Taboo is my favorite, but lately I found myself listening to You Think I'll Leave You Slide, Baby? You know me better than that. Think I'll get down when you're down on your knees. I wouldn't do that. How's the next line go? I'll say you're right when you're wrong. When I'll say you're right when you want. Ah. That's how it goes. Think I'll leave you sad, baby. You know me better than that. Think I'll leave you down when you're down on your knees. I wouldn't do that. What's that? I'll make you what? How did that thing go? Oh, anyways. Ha, 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 ha. But that's my thing. That's my little therapy thing for this week. Is like all week long while I was trying to come up with this this nice topic and thinking about things. Like I was listening to nature sounds all last week, but this week I wanted to like relax and meditate, and I was caught myself listening to Sade like all week long. So it was so peaceful and relaxing. Yeah. Yeah, this has been a little bit long. I didn't expect for it to be long, but whatever. Yeah, I think it was. Hopefully, there's a lot of value in this or insight. I appreciate those that are continuing to watch my videos. Thank you to the new subscribers. Hopefully, you're watching the videos and not just being a subscriber. So yeah. And so let me mention that if anyone has any topics that they would like for me to discuss, or if you maybe want to collaborate and do a video, we could try to do that. Let me put my email for this thing. So it's much easier. So my email is at the bottom of the screen. So if anyone wants to want me to discuss a particular topic, it could be intimate relationships. It could be something like I discussed today about Africa, and because I still look at that as interpersonal relationships, and that's the thing of talking about, not just talking about intimacy, but talking about relationship in general. So yeah, so if anyone wants to reach out to me and talk about that has any topic they would like for me to discuss or collaborate or something, just email me at what you see on the screen to make it easier, simple. So thank you all again. Shukran jazilan. Masalama. I am hungry again.